Coming soon to a theater near you.
Yo, this is episode 7 of the Real Ones podcast with myself, Mr. Marin, and my man 150 grand, Dirk, the RB3. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, man? Just been busy this week.
Yeah, sure is. It's a busy week. We got a lot we're trying to cram in, personal life, content-wise. We got a lot we doing. Let me ask you something. What was the last time you saw a Richard Dreyfuss film?
Richard, man, wow, that's a deep cut. I mean, I haven't seen a Richard Dreyfuss film. Yeah.
So it's safe to say he's irrelevant, right?
I think it's pretty safe to say.
Yeah. Okay, so with that said, Richard Dreyfuss just made the news recently. He was very, very upset with the push for diversity in the Academy.
What?
He said that it makes him sick to his stomach, the fact that they're forcing certain things, like, forcing, more diversity, for them to consider more films or other people. He even brought up how I believe it was Sir Laurence Olivier, who was in Othello. He played a black man. He's like, so you can't tell me I can't play a black man?
What? Yo, wait.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I like some of the Richard Dreyfuss movies.
You know Jaws.
Jaws. Close Encounters of the Third Kind is actually one of my favorite movies too. He's good, but what? Like, he ain't that talented. I'm sorry.
Yeah, old white men. You know how that go, man. Old white men, they just, that get off my lawn mentality.
Yeah, he in his Jack Nicholson mode. Jack Nicholson.
Wait. Jack Nicholson said something? That's my man, Jack Nicholson.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Not Jack Nicholson. I'm sorry. Not Jack Nicholson. Phil Jackson.
Oh, yeah, another one.
Yeah,
I don't watch basketball because Black Lives Matter. He said, I made jokes with my grandkids, equal opportunity goes for a layup. Equal opportunity passes to justice. Like, what's up with, like, these white folks? Back in the day, they were very progressive, hippies, so on and so forth. And they just get old and they turn into, Republicans, basically.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Conservative. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's what was going on. That was just fresh in my mind on the ride here. I was just like, I couldn't believe he said that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I think the one thing that, like, Trump really did, he just ripped the Band-Aid off for a lot of people. When some people probably thought, like, these things in quiet, now they're just ready to say it out loud. So,
yeah, and there's nothing wrong with diversity. I'm sorry of the white man constantly having his finger on the button with everything that's a go in Hollywood and so on and so forth. Think about all the films, like, this could have been nominated. I was watching Mo Better Blues the other day, and I'm like, this could have been nominated for, like, best original score or something like that.
Oh, for sure. Denzel should have been nominated for that performance.
There's a lot of performances Denzel should have been nominated for. A lot. Spike should have been nominated for a lot of stuff. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But of course, because, when somebody else is calling the shots, you can't do that. So shout out to the Academy getting a little bit more diverse, things that's happening, things shaking the table, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
A little bit.
We still got some issues. But we're working it out. We are working it out. But today is a very special episode. Today we are going to, for one, June is Black Music Month. And also this summer in August, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of hip-hop's birth. Hip-hop was born in the Boogie Down Bronx. And what do you know? We got somebody that was there for the birth of hip-hop. So I want y'all to give a shout-out. Give a hand to my man. This guy is very important to me because he helped raise me. I told the story about him. Matter of fact, we're going to confirm that story right now. But I told that story about him when we went to go see Space Jam. He was fronting like he had Space Jam Jordan 11s, and he did not, folks. He had Concorde 11s that he dyed the upper, turned to Space Jam.
Genius.
George Peters. George.
Hey, what's up?
What's good, man? So can you please go ahead.
George, I can't believe that you actually outed me on those Concorde 11s, B.
You telling people, you was like, yo, I remember, I'll never forget that we was on the escalator coming down and some dude pointed him out. He's like, yo, you got the Jordans on. You was like, yeah, my man from Nike, he hooked me up. I was like, what? Like, get out of here.
You remember that? That is crazy.
Yeah, man. But George, now you are a sneakerhead. You I see you on social media. I see you on Instagram. You bubbling on it. I'm like, wow, George got more clout than me. This is crazy. Because he's an old head. This is crazy. But you are also a hip hop enthusiast. Again, you were there in the South Bronx when hip hop started.
Oh, yeah.
Can you please paint the picture for folks and tell folks? I know this is layered. This is not this is not something you can do easily. But please let people know, what was it like seeing the growth of hip hop? You was there, so can you please describe that?
But let me tell you, hip hop was born the year of my birth, which is 1972, with Kool Herc and his famous parties on Sedgwick Avenue. You know where Sedgwick Avenue is, up there by Fordham Road, where we used to live at. So, the progression from there, from 1972, and you could imagine 1972, right? It's right after civil rights movement and all these different things like that. Black people are coming into their own. They're trying to figure out, different moves, different motions. And, music is a big part of our culture. Yeah. So, it just so happens that he came up with this thing of scratching and mixing records and just playing break beats from records and different things like that. And it kind of grew from there. And you could imagine from 72 to 82. Now, 82 is when I really got into the game. It's like, you got Run DMC and all these, and The Message and Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five and the Sugar Hill Gang and all these different songs coming out. And when we first heard those songs, like in the street, it was like, what the heck is this? It's like, you know how you get one of those mind-blowing moments, like if you ever seen the first time Michael Jordan dunked a basketball. It was that type of feeling. It's like you sit there and you like, this is like amazing. So, when you get into the streets part of it, it was like, the Bronx back then was great. And this is really where the real first places that you were hearing hip hop. And, the Bronx streets were gritty. People were on drugs. There was all these different things going on. But at the same time, it was like the birth of this new and exciting thing. And everybody wanted in on it. And it was like the whole city was like in an uproar about it, like Queens. You got people from Harlem, you got people from Manhattan, you got people from Brooklyn.
And also, sorry to cut you off, George, but like for those that don't know, like each borough is its own world. You know what I'm saying? Like it's New York, but each of the 5 boroughs is like, it's totally different codes they live by. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know about out here, RB, with LA, but like in the Bronx, like we look at, Bronx and Brooklyn cats look at each other like kind of crazy, like, you know what I'm saying? Because they live by different codes. So it's like, Bronx dudes be doing this. Oh, they dirty in the Bronx. They be robbing. Or they be like, Brooklyn, they be hustling people. Don't be around no Brooklyn. They be hustling. Queens, they got their own thing. In Manhattan, that's where the money is getting made. So you know what I'm saying?
But not only that, on top of that, back then, and even a little bit right now, people from the Bronx never went to Brooklyn. Yep. And people from Brooklyn never came to the Bronx. And people from Manhattan never went to Queens. And it was like this type of thing where it's like, you go out there, you're going to get robbed, you're going to get shot, you're going to get taken for your joint, whatever the case may be. But it's like once hip hop came on the scene, and this is like the 80s hip hop. In the 70s, it might have been a little bit different. But once 80s hip hop came on, it was like a melting pot. It was like people were going to battle in Brooklyn from the Bronx. And people were coming to the Bronx to battle. Or then they started hanging out with each other. And then they come to Manhattan. And then they go to all these different places. And that's kind of like where it started, with people from different boroughs getting together, was the hip hop thing.
Right. Now, let me segue this into what we about to get into. With all of that happening, now, more eyes are getting on hip hop. It's becoming more than just a New York thing. It's starting to bleed out into different cities and stuff like that. But now Hollywood taps in. You let me know, how did you feel when you started to see hip hop get onto the big screen? When was the first time you saw an example of hip hop on the big screen?
I want to tell you that the first time I saw it was Beat Street.
Okay.
And Beat Street came out in like 83. Might have been 82. I don't it's kind of fuzzy, but Beat Street was the first time. And to see what you see every day on a screen, on a movie screen, it was amazing. You know what I'm saying? It was like, the portrayal was kind of corny because it wasn't really like that in real life. But like the breakdancing battle scenes and the scratching and the hip hop and stuff like that, like I've been in the Roxy when New York Breakers were battling Rocksteady Crew, and it was just like that. You know what I'm saying? Just like what it was in Beat Street. But that was the first time I've seen that, and I heard hip hop on a movie screen. But it was amazing. But at the same time, it was like, what's gonna happen now? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this gonna be a progression of hip hop going worldwide, or are we getting robbed for this? You know what I'm saying? Because now it's changing culture.
Okay.
So that first time was Beat Street, and then the second time, which was really good also, was Krush Groove. And then you got Run DMC on the screen, and you got them, you know, you like, these are heroes right now. When Run DMC came out, they were like the heroes of the whole city. And when you see them on screen, you're like, oh, shoot, look at this. Now they making movies and this and this and that, Run DMC and Adidas and all this different stuff. And it portrayed what we were going through in the city, but on the big screen. And it just progressed from there. But, you know, there was still some unfair places where, you know, hip hop was kind of robbed for certain things. And then, you know, it was minstreled and different things like that.
What would you say is I'm sorry, RB, do you have any questions so far?
Oh, no.
Okay. He's soaking in. RB he's real young. You know what I'm saying? So I want this comment. He's soaking it in right now. I'm listening. I'm not as old as you. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect, but I'm also, you know, trying to take this in myself. When did you think it started to get foolish? The portrayal of hip hop, that is, in film.
I would want to say, see, Spike Lee was a big part of making hip hop mainstream because he was putting it, not only hip hop but jazz also, because he was putting it in the movies, and it was like, you know, with Do the Right Thing and Fight the Power and different songs like that. You know, it kind of made it cool and made it kind of, you know, Afrocentric and different things like that. But, you know, what's the politically, you know, I'm not crazy politically correct.
Hey, listen, but, no. You don't need to be PC here. Nah. Keep it real. Keep it 100.
You know, when you got the white people on the screen portraying hip hop like they down in the hood, that's when it got kind of like watered down. You know what I'm saying? It watered it down. It's not real anymore. It's not like, you know, I was in jams in Bronx River and shootouts and all kind of stuff like that. And then they portraying this stuff on the screen like it's like, oh, it's the cool hip party to go to. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like that. It was like, dude, it's either you go enjoy yourself and you listen to music and you dance and all this different stuff like that, and you picking up girls and all kind of stuff like that. And then the shootout starts. But now you're portraying it on the screen like this is glorified, and that's not how it is. It's not glorified.
Yeah, one of our episodes we talked about like the hood film, the rise of the hood film after Boys in the Hood, and how it was always like
the shootout.
A shootout was always happening. Yeah, you know, above the rim at the end of the game is a shootout, and you know, and even I could even say, you know, a little off track here, like I was watching Jason's Lyric the other day.
Oh yeah, I like that movie.
You do,
but I know what you're going. I know exactly where you're going.
You know what I'm saying? Because the Tretch character comes now, and like it just got extra violent out of nowhere. Like it could have been
out of nowhere.
It could have been a calm, you know, just like Poetic Justice. Poetic Justice started with the violence because it set the tone for the character's arc in a sense. You know, her losing her boyfriend, played by Q-Tip, and you know, and then with Jason's Lyric, it was like a cute little film. You know, there was some dysfunction in there, and then the Tretch character comes, and now it's a shootout at the end. It's just like, yo, wait, how did we get here?
But you know, a lot of that it stems from, you know, it's hip hop, right?
Yeah.
And this is the truth of it, is that those things happen, right? But publicly and in the mainstream, and you know, I hate to be the one like the conspiracy theorist, but this is how it started. Once hip hop went West Coast, and it melded with gangs.
Let's talk.
That's when it became the violent thing.
Hey,
you
George, just so you know, I'm in the cradle of West Coast hip hop right now. I am literally in Compton. I'm literally in Compton. Did you know Tim Dog? You know F Compton. You know the Tim.
Yeah. Tim Dog was from the Bronx. You kidding me?
Yeah.
But it came. You see, when it was happy go lucky, we were going to the clubs and we were dressing fancy and Gucci and fake Gucci because it was Dapper Dan and all that stuff like that. When we were doing those different things, it was about partying. It was like fun. You know what I'm saying? But you got a knucklehead to pull out a gun and start shooting and all that stuff like that. And he ain't really shooting at nobody. He may be shooting up in the air and then just disperse the whole party. But once it got West Coast and it was like, fuck the police and, I'm going to shoot down your door and I'm going to kick in this and I'm going to do all this stuff like that. And then you see the progression of how it got violent.
No, I feel you. But let me play devil's advocate here. Because I ain't going to be, George, I feel you. You already know I get the knowledge from you. But let's be real. In Harlem, it was the streets was just as nasty. I mean, it didn't bleed into the music though. I guess that's what you're trying to say.
It was about money though. Yeah. It was about money though. Yeah. It wasn't about territory. It wasn't about, my block and this street and all that stuff. It was about money.
That was crack era. That was peak crack era.
These dudes were selling big drugs. And if you was messing up money and you wasn't getting money or you was getting money in somebody else's area or something like that, they weren't taking it, and that's kind of that's how it went, and it was like it still wasn't as violent as what the gang situation was, because they were getting money and they were doing things like that, but it was on a glamorous kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
When it got to the West Coast thing, it was just like killing people for no reason. It was like they driving by and just shoot down anybody who was. We never had no drive-bys over here. They were driving by shooting down whole neighborhoods.
Yo, listen,
stuff like that. So.
Me and RB talk about this all the time. I always say I was scared to come to California. When I saw Menace to Society when I was like, whenever it came out, we got it on VHS, and I watched that. And I was like, yo, that's what they doing over there? I'm never going there.
It scared me. And I was a grown man and I was scared about that stuff. I was like, dude, they wilding over there. But no, you were still playing devil's advocate, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it was bad because that was their reality. But at the same time, it was used to infiltrate the hip hop. You know what I'm saying? To make it, to put it in a bad light.
Well, I think
it was used in everything. It was like, this is how it is, and they put these movies up there, and you think that in the Bronx it's the same way. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think for for me, being from LA, you know what I mean? Like I think like you're saying, it's the conditions of LA. Like we've had mad, 1968 Watts riots, 90s riots. Like we had Chief Daryl Gates, who was like an oppressive Southern, literally a prison guard, family of slave owners running the police department in LA. And then plus, LA, you see it in Snowfall was like the hub of the crack movement back in the day too. I know obviously it was on the East Coast as well, but it was really a lot of it coming from Mexico. So it's like those situations. I will say, my mom is very, very much like, she'll tell you how bad it was back then, especially like on Crenshaw and all that too. And it was, it was looking rough. I think part of why it infiltrated hip hop so mainly was because how you're saying with the, how in New York, the drugs and stuff were tied to the money. And LA is also tied to the money. But the money, it was often used to fuel the hip hop, like especially in Hollywood, where Hollywood was like the center of the music industry. Capitol Records, New York too. But LA had the record labels, had the recording studios, and they had the. So a lot of times when New York rappers, they would have to come to LA to record. So then a lot of that culture ended up bleeding through. You see that at the beginning of the Straight Outta Compton when they're interacting with those guys from Dallas. It's just a different kind of energy. I mean, it was rougher. Now, definitely now situations are a lot different. You know what I mean? Compton now,
right?
And it's a lot.
They got grass out here. I'm like, what?
Yeah. and nearly, you know what I mean, the way they portray. But yeah, also too, they went a little harder in the way they showed it in those movies too back in the day too. So it's a little bit of it's a mixture. But yeah, I would definitely say like Boys in the Hood, like they were definitely really capturing what LA was like in that movie. Don't Be a Menace also too with the Hughes brothers.
Oh, you mean Menace to Society?
Sorry, Menace to Society. Yeah, my bad. Yeah. Yeah, they did a good job of capturing what LA was. But yeah, definitely, like you're saying, it was more violent. I don't know if it was. Again, I grew up here, so I don't know if it's as scary as like y'all New Yorkers are putting it out to be.
Listen, man.
Let me tell you, man, it was a scary thing, dude. When we saw Boys in the Hood, dude, we were like, I am not messing with LA. I'm not even going over there.
That's real though. It's a real movie for sure.
So, George, let me know, like, just do you have vivid memories of going to see House Party, Boys in the Hood? You just mentioned.
Yeah. And what I wanted to touch on, and I wanted to show you the difference between what I'm talking about as far as hip hop goes, is like two different movies that you could see the reality of hip hop and what it kind of glamorized what it's supposed to be. Take New Jack City and Juice. Put them side to side and watch both of them and see how different they are pertaining to what the streets were in New York.
And I could assume Juice is the more realistic.
Juice is the more realistic. Okay. That is exactly right.
Definitely,
Juice is the more realistic. Even to the way Tupac played Bishop, I had a friend like Bishop.
Just a crazy mofo.
Yeah, Bishop.
Crazy mofo. Dude walking around with a gun, just shooting for no reason. He beating up people, punching them in the face for no reason.
And even worse. Crazy. And even worse, did he have a Gumby haircut?
Yes.
Oh man, yeah. That brother, he wasn't living right, man. He wasn't living right.
He had a Gumby and a flat top, but he kind of went between both of them. But it's still, but it's the reality. Like New Jack City, you could say it was somewhat real. There was parts with the mafia and all that stuff that wasn't real. That they were, riding down the street on the motorcycle, shooting them up and all that stuff. That wasn't real. They wouldn't do that stuff. The thing at the party in New Jack City where they had the wedding and picked up the little girl and
Wesley jumped in the air, did the action hero move, shooting. Yeah.
That's action movie stuff. That wasn't stuff that we was doing. But Juice was real. Okay. And now there's parts of New Jack City, like when they were riding around in the Jeep when crack first came out, and they playing basketball in the park and all that stuff like that. Yeah, some of that was real.
Okay.
But if you look at Juice, Juice was kind of like the reality of what we were here in the street.
Okay.
And what we were doing in the street. It was like, when he was DJing at the club at the DJ battle, we went to stuff like that, and people just dancing and partying and stuff like that, house parties, all those different things like that. So getting back to House Party and what you said the other movie was.
No, I was just saying, just examples. Do you remember how you felt when you seen these movies for the first time? Do you remember like thinking like, yo, I'm gonna go see House Party. I'm gonna go see Who's the Man? Friday, like
Yeah. I mean, all those movies, all those hip hop movies with rappers in them, and that they kind of put out there. And
was it like if you saw your favorite rapper in a film, like you were going to see it first day, like yo, so and so's in it, I'm going. Okay.
Definitely. I mean, there was some of them where you was like, nah, I ain't gonna go see that. It's like, because you see the trailer and you're like, nah, I ain't watching that. But House Party was one, because I knew Kid and Play, on a, not a personal level, but I've been around them and I've been, I danced in one of their videos and stuff like that. It was, one of those things that was like automatic. I got to go see that. You know what I'm saying? Dude, it's House Party. We all go to House Parties. Let's go see what it's like and da. So it's like, it was a hype thing. But it's like when you got to those kind of like, and I know you going down me for this one, and this is just like kind of like those like Don't Be a Menace.
You don't like that?
What's that? That Marlon Wayans movie.
You didn't like that?
Drinking Juice in the Hood. Yeah.
It's a parody, man. You're supposed to take that.
I know it's parody, but at the same time, man, you can't water down what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
No,
it's like you gotta keep it. I know it was funny and all that stuff, but I just
but
don't.
You're a purist.
I can't dive with the unrealness of this stuff.
Yeah,
you know
you're a purist, so you was just like, I can't get with this. All right. Well, George, I don't want to take up too much of your time. We're going to continue with the show, but please let people know. Well, first of all, thank you for coming out. Thank you for calling in.
It's my pleasure.
You already know I spent my whole life getting a wealth of wisdom from you, but let people know. Yeah. Let the people know where they could find you on social media. All of that.
Oh, you can find me at Pete Jordan 23, and you can find me at Victor Jordan 2315.
This guy got the craziest Jordan.
Matter of fact, I'm sorry, Victor Jordan 1972.
Okay, this guy had a crazy Jordan collection. This is where this is literally where I learned everything from this man right here. So George,
yeah, that's part of hip hop too, right there.
Yes, it is.
Inside the hip hop too.
We could go on for days. Hip hop is so like it runs so deep. So it's crazy to me when folks try to push black folks to the side. Like, our culture ain't running things right now. Like, we ain't keeping this ship running right now.
The whole music industry.
The whole music industry, fashion, everything. We are cool. We are the blueprint. You know what I'm saying? We built the country built on our backs, and everything starts with us.
It's crazy because we're, at the end of the day, like you said, everybody steals everything from us. And they make it their own. Because, we were in the streets. Look at half of the Gucci stuff that's out now, right? I was actually making stuff like that in my room. And Dapper Dan was making it on 125th Street. And now they're selling it for $900, 3,000, 5,000.
He's with Gucci now. Now he's with Gucci. He got deals with the Gap.
They had to put him on. They had to put him on because they stole his designs. But at the same time, all that was hip hop. All that came from hip hop. Like, to leave y'all with something, KRS once said in one of his songs, 50 years down the line, we're going to be the old school artists. And this was in 1987. He said that. And now they're the old school artists. But at the same time, I don't listen to new school hip hop. Some of it is all right. But a lot of it is just a lot of, mumbling and carrying on and booty shaking and all that stuff. And I just can't get with that. But at the same time, the old school stuff is what built half the stuff that you see right now.
Absolutely. George, again, thank you so much. Thank you.
No doubt.
I love you, man. We'll talk.
Love you too, man. Yeah, give me a call. Let me know what's up.
All right, man.
Peace out to the show. One.
All right, man. That was such a hip hop sign off. One. Yeah, one. You know what I'm saying? But, to follow up what he said, he said the first time he seen a hip hop on the big screen was Beat Street.
Right.
Beat Street, Wild Style. A lot of that stuff. It seems like hip hop's origin in film was, Beat Street is not really a documentary.
Yeah.
But Wild Style and oh my God, it's enough Style Wars and all that.
Style Wars, yeah.
All that stuff is documentary work, and you're really seeing it in its infancy. You know what I'm saying? You're seeing these guys that be tagging the train, tagging the buildings. You seeing some of them with their families. I think one of the documentaries, I believe, is Beat Street. Can't remember if it was Beat Street or Style Wars. I'm foggy at the moment. But it's like this one kid, and he's still alive. I actually ended up looking him up. He's still alive and well, thank God. He's talking about tagging and stuff like that, and his mother is just kind of like, y'all are wasting your time. Y'all defacing these people. This is stupid. You need to go to school and do something. This is a real, like, she's really pissed off. This is a real conversation. And it's like, wow, look at that. Like, she didn't even know her son was about to go to become an icon in this field. You know what I'm saying?
No, literally. And that's what's super crazy about graffiti in general. How, because there a lot of times, a lot of people don't realize there's the four things of hip hop, right? Like there's the DJ, the MC, the graffiti, and the dance, the style. You know what I mean? So like that's the four fundamentals, at least according to like hip hop books and stuff. I was in this little hip hop class at USC. It was a good class. I ain't gonna lie, it was kind of weird because it was taught by a white guy. You know,
you thought you was slick. You were trying to get an easy A. This
I did get easy A. I ain't gonna lie. By the way, I love my professor. The dude was so nice, but I couldn't get enough of whenever we would talk about some Kendrick or something West Coast. He'd be like, Robert, what are your thoughts? I'm like,
of course, you had the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But that document, graffiti was such a crucial part of that movement because it was like an advertisement for not just rappers, but for the parties and the venues in general. Like people knew like this spot was where this was going down. Like George was saying, like, all these spots, all these party places were the birthplace, the infancy of hip hop. It was all like live music in the beginning, and like what those documentaries highlight. But yeah, and then seeing that transition. I mean, we see the narrative transition too with like Krush Groove,
yes,
which I was just watching for the first time today. Like, you know,
Krush Groove is one of those. It's like it starts for me. It starts there. I know Beat Street. You know, then you had shit like Rappin. Okay, Rappin. I'm gonna Google it direct. I can't. You know what? I'm not even gonna Google direct. I seen the name and it doesn't look like a brother made that.
Oh,
film.
really? Oh.
And you can tell when you watch the film. It's starring Mario Van Peebles, Eric LaSalle, who Eric LaSalle ended up being on ER. Mario Van Peebles ended up, you know, he's Melvin Van Peebles' son. He ended up directing New Jack City, Posse, and you know, so on and so forth. And it's like the trailer is Ice-T's in the trailer.
Really?
And it's like it seems like it's like a Robin Hood story where it's Mario Van Peebles is playing John Rappin Hood, and then the whole trailer is Ice-T like, and it was John Rappin Hood, and go see this movie because this movie is fly.
People in the place, pay attention to me. I'm gonna tell you a story about an MC or a rapper. That's a person who rhymes to the beat and musical rhythm on city street.
My name is Ice and I own this town.
That's only when Hood's not around.
Now John Hood's his name, rapping's his game. Word manipulation's how he gained his fame and life. Robin Hood, he's honest and true and always down with his partners. Do wild things.
Like, and it's like, yo, the film is like it's like a musical type thing because like you see Eric LaSalle, who is not a rapper, again an actor. He's rapping and pop locking. You know, they're battling each other and. It's like they're having conflict, but in raps. You know what I'm saying? You know, I should have asked George if you remember that film, but yeah, it gets the beginning of the infancy of hip hop and film as it leans towards narrative. It's a little cheesy. He kind of mentioned, you know, Beat Street being a little cheesy, but it was seeing that on screen, you know, that really changed things for him. You know, representation matters. You know what I'm saying? Like we're seeing that now with The Little Mermaid. People are pissed off that there's a sister with locks, you know, playing Ariel, but there's young black girls of color that's just like, yo, like this is beautiful. Like I want to see this. You know what I'm saying? So that was their moment, you know, of representation.
Seeing hip hop on screen, yeah. I feel like, I mean, again, I don't think I've seen Beat Street, but you know, just seeing the first half of Krush Groove, like that one felt like a lot more authentic to me, at least. Like that one felt like a lot more. And Michael Shores, by the way, he does a lot of dope movies. I mean, we talked about it before on the pod a couple times with some Richard Pryor films, and then the first time I really actually watched Cooley High when we were doing the Robert Townsend episode, like as I was editing it, that film was like really good at capturing the youth of that time period, and I believe that was Harlem too, if I'm not mistaken.
That was Chicago, I believe.
Oh, that's Chicago. Oh, okay, I'm way off with that. But this one does a really also good job of capturing that youth, capturing that spirit of hip hop without being like disrespectful. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it really felt like, especially in the beginning when the teacher is kind of mocking the fat kid for for rapping, all the, you know, everything. Like it could have easily been like some gangsters, like shooters, like hanging out. But
it's like it's I don't know how you said you saw the first half. I don't know if you realize it's kind of like a semi-autobiographical story of Def Jam. You know, Blair Underwood plays the Russell Simmons-like character, and then he has Rick Rubin is in the film. You know, Rick Rubin is a central figure in music, hip hop especially. You know, and then the Fat Boys is in it, Beastie Boys is in it, a young LL Cool J is in it. You know, he walks into audition, he does My Radio or whatever the case may be. Sheila E., Run DMC, Curtis Blow, like that one, like and that film, I don't know if you got to see the Fat Boys when they was eating food and they was rapping. Like it has musical elements to it. It's dope. It's very light. It's dope. It really, like you said, it captures. It's very authentic in the way it captures, you know, the culture. And if you pay attention to one scene, you see Chris Rock with a Jerry curl as an extra.
Really?
Yes.
Really? Oh shoot, I did not know that. I did not know. Is that like one of his early like?
That's probably his first on-screen appearance.
Really?
Krush
Did
Groove.
not know that. Damn. Well, that's dope. I mean, for one, I also think like it's an interesting transition period. I feel like from like when that era of hip hop versus like the late '80s like version, like George was saying, like the West Coast stuff started coming to the picture. I know on East Coast, like we have Wu-Tang, you know, Wu-Tang popping off like late '80s, early '90s. So it's like it is like that last like hurrah of like the Curtis Blow of like the OG style of hip hop, and then but yeah, later films obviously transition into different avenues.
Yeah, and then you know, at this point, you know, House Party, the House Party franchise comes about. And the House Party franchise is interesting because it was shot out here. It's based out here, but it's a lot of East Coast cats. You know what I'm saying? Kid and Play. You know what I'm saying? Full Force, who are not rappers, but they look like rappers. Shit. I mean, when they was playing the Bully, for the longest, I used to look at it, I was like, yo, these brothers muscle, little Jerry Crow, which is understood. It's the time. I thought they was rappers, and they sing like angels. They actually have beautiful voices. They wrote a lot of hit songs for NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But the House Party franchise, like I told you in one episode, man, House Party is one of those ones, like one of those classic. It's a perfect film, beat for beat. Again, like I told you in a previous episode as well, it belongs in the conversation with American classics, especially the team comedies. Like, with the 16 Candles and the Breakfast Club and all of that, they cover, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. They cover white folks, you know what I'm saying? But we never really get a film that like puts young black youth in the center, in the center of the frame. And there's no drugs. I mean, a little violence. There's a little,
little violence, a little drinking.
Yeah,
but
a
it's
little
not
drinking,
bad.
but bullies,
Yeah.
But it's for the most part a clean film. I mean, of course it's rated R. You got Robin Harris in there talking crazy,
Right.
All movie. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's a clean representation of black youth at the time.
All right.
You know
Nah,
what I'm
it is. And I think that's why, I think, like you said, it is a lot of East Coast people in it, but I think LA people really like it too. Yeah, I got the craziest Robin Harris story. I never told this on the air before.
Oh, what happened?
One of my uncles, Uncle Bob, shout out to you. He's never gonna hear this. He was at a comedy show and he walked in kind of late. And Robin Harris was on stage.
Oh, that's one of the worst things you can do.
Yeah.
By the way, anybody that know of Robin Harris, they was like, yo, you better have your ass there early because if you come in walking late, he's gonna light into you. But go ahead.
That's my man Uncle Bob. He said he was wearing something that was kind of crazy, like a pinstripe suit, something like that. Like, I don't know where he just hears Robin Harris like, yo, look at this motherfucker walking in right now. Da, da, da. And he's going in, cooking his soup. And my uncle's just laughing. He's like laughing. He's like, who y'all laughing at? Who y'all laughing at?
Not knowing it's him.
right. And then eventually he looks down. He's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Almost brushes the stage at Robin Harris, bro. Like, he was about to...
Man, yeah, there's people that tell stories. I think Faison Love, who plays Big Worm in the Friday films, he was like, he was wearing some red boots, and that Robin Harris got him so bad, he took off the boots and threw it in the trash. Went home without shoes. It's that bad.
Yeah, you get kicked by Robin Harris.
And if you also want a glimpse of Robin Harris in his bag, Mo Better Blues. I was told from people that was there. There's a scene where his character Butterbean is doing stand up, and he's getting that. I heard that was completely improvised.
Really?
Spike turned on the camera and it was like, yo, this is your show. Do what you want to do. And I heard that there's a lot of footage that didn't make the film.
Oh,
that's probably
really?
funnier than what did make the film.
Really?
Yeah, so Robin Harris, man, he has a great start in Hollywood. I'm going to Get You Sucker. Do the Right Thing.
Right.
House Party.
Right.
Harlem Nights.
Right. What's the animated joint?
Baby's Kids, which he didn't get to do. They were developing it.
Right.
But Faison Love, again, Big Worm from Friday, he ended up doing his voice for that. But it's based on his act.
Yeah, exactly.
About Baby's Kids.
Yeah.
So Robin Harris, he's a real one. You know what I'm saying? He had whoever was his agent, I don't know who was feeling them calls, or maybe it was just the moment. Black film was really starting up, and that's really the cream of the crop of black film.
Oh yeah,
you know what
90s, early late 90s for sure.
But he did those films back to back to back to back. I'm like, God, yo, that's a crazy start. All classics.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't make it for House Party 2. House Party 2, it basically, continues the story with Kid. He's going to college. That one, whereas House Party was really Kid and Play was the center. They had their little rap battle in it. House Party 2, you got Ralph Tresvant, you got Tony. Basically that turns into a musical at some point. It's much lighter, sillier in tone. You know what I'm saying?
Is that one R-rated too?
Yeah, all of them are R-rated.
Oh, okay. I thought, I don't know, maybe I'm tripping. I thought House Party 4 was like PG-13 or something.
Oh, well, 4, that's the one we don't mention.
Right.
Yeah. For me, personally, there's 3 House Party films, okay? There's House Party 1, which is what we talked about. House Party 2, when he goes to college. House Party 3, when he's out west, which feels like a West Coast film. House Party 3. Because it's like a lot of the West Coast comedians and everybody's, it's a very, even the sound, the sound of the music, like, like the synth heavy
That
stuff.
G-funk.
Yeah, it's a very West Coast film. And I don't know any other House Party films after that.
It's no 4, no remake.
There's
Nothing.
no such thing as a remake. I don't know what you're talking about. The House Party doesn't exist after 1994.
Yo, speaking of which, I did get to see White Man Can't Jump, the remake, early.
Same director, folks, if y'all don't know.
Same director's House Party. Calmatic. I don't know what they trying to do to my brother right now. They trying to set him up or what? Because it's 2 films. 2 classics, 90s. I don't know, but I will say my reviews on Geeks of Color. I did not like the film personally. I thought it was not that good. But if you want to read my full thoughts, go to Geeks of Color. I might do a video review too. But yeah, it's a time, man.
I'm trying to not be that ignorant motherfucker that says, "Oh no, I'm not gonna watch it," but have an opinion about it. But from what I've seen so far, and then I heard that. I heard there's a remake. I'm gonna tell y'all, fuck that.
Right.
I heard that there's a scene. Okay, if you know the original White Man Can't Jump, Marcus Johnson, he used to be a player for the Milwaukee Bucks. He has a classic scene in the original White Man Can't Jump where they're playing ball, they lose the game, and he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna go get my gun. I'm gonna go back, get my gun. I'm killing everybody," and they all flee from the park. Right? Funny scene. This man tells me that scene is in this remake, but now a motherfucking blowtorch comes out.
A flamethrower.
Why? Like, we're coming off of the House Party remake where people are being beheaded at an Illuminati party. How is a blowtorch? Like, what is going? And I was reading a article where they were interviewing Calmatic, and no disrespect to the brother.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. LA native.
Cool. As he's talking about the film, it seemed like he was more concerned about showing that they're wearing cool stuff.
I told you about that too. Like they got dudes hooping up in
like off-white
Jordans, like
yeah, like he spends a good chunk of the interview like, yo, White Man Can't Jump is known for the iconic streetwear, which yes, it is. But they were not putting it in frame to say, hey, look at this shirt. Right. Look at this shirt, y'all. Look at these shoes. They weren't doing that. And that's what I don't like with a lot of these films now. It's like they're trying to chase that moment to say, oh, this, look.
The Instagram influencers.
Yeah, like everything is just showy. And it's just like, oh, like they want to make iconic moment out of it instead of just making the damn film. Right. Let the shit live on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I did not like that. And that, and I'm going to eventually watch the film because, again, I don't like to shit on something without seeing it. Even though the Jack Harlow casting alone just took me out of it. I was like, what is this? What are we doing? Yeah,
to be fair, he's not doing that much in the movie. Like he's just playing Jack Harlow. So it's like I can't really say if he's bad or good. To me, like my main thing is like we talked about White Man Can't Jump. I don't want to go too far into it. But the original was so good because the characters were flawed. They were like really flawed. Like by the end, Woody Harrelson's girlfriend like leaves him. Yeah. Straight up. So like in this movie, they're just perfect characters. They're just perfect guys. Like the only real flaw is that they like basketball too much.
There's no soul in these films, man. Yeah, like these remakes, there's no soul in them. When you got LeBron producing the House Party remake, and it's like, and it's one thing to produce it. Everybody do venture into film and do what they got to do, but then when you become a plot point in the film,
right, it's at your house, like
and you got the AI LeBron talking to them and gassing himself. Like, come on, son, what are we doing? Like,
they gotta get the Cleveland ring back.
From the Illuminati party. Like, come on, son, what are we doing? Terrible. But like I said, House Party 3 comes, it's very West Coast vibe. Bernie Mac steals the show in House Party 3.
See, that's why I gotta go back and
You gotta go back and watch House Party 3. There's a dinner table scene is with Angela Means. She played Felicia in Friday. She plays Kid's fiance in House Party 3. It's her family, which is Ronaldo Ray and Simply Marvelous. R.I.P. to both comedians. Kitty Lester, who, I'm gonna take it back for y'all. Kitty Lester was in Blackula. She played like a cabbie that Blackula killed. And this iconic shot of her running towards the camera, with the afro, and she's like she's about to bite the mortician or something like that. She plays Aunt Lucy in House Party 3. So it's her, Angela Mean, her parents, Bernie Mac, and Kid at a dinner table. That is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. They just cutting ass. The scene is chaos. If y'all get a chance, please go check out House Party 3. It's not as good as the original, but it's still something. You know what I'm saying? Still something. And then, you know, we do get the films, you know, like George mentioned, New Jack City and Juice, where hip hop is not a musical, but hip hop is definitely deeply, you know, it influences the product. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Ernest Dickinson talked about Juice on a podcast with Snoop Dogg, and he said that when he went to go make the film, he wrote the script like late 70s. It was a lot of, you know, where you going, Jack, sucker? You know, it was a lot of that 70s lingo, and he said he had to update it, you know, and, you know, Ernest Dickinson was doing stuff with Spike, you know, he's around Public Enemy, all that stuff, you know, so he kind of, you know, and then also he worked with Omar Epps, Tupac, Khalil Kane, and Jermaine Hopkins. He worked with them to kind of get
mostly unknowns, by the way.
Yeah, at the time, mostly unknown. So he worked with them to kind of get the lingo up, and you get Juice. Juice is not a film about a beverage, folks. It is about earning respect. When you say you got the juice, when we tell you you got the juice, that means you got nothing but respect. You know what I'm saying? So you see these young fellas, you know, going through the hood. They have a wild. I don't know how long the film. I don't know what time, the duration time, and you know, as far as you know, days or months in the film, but they go through a bunch of shit. You know, Tupac plays Bishop, who, yo, if Pac was alive, I think he'd be Academy Award winning actor or nominated at least.
Oh yeah, he was up for, a lot of people don't know this, he was up for Mace Windu in Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Get the fuck out of here.
He was, for real. Like, you could Google it. It was like, and I think Vulture reported on it too. Like, he was auditioning with George Lucas and all that. Like,
see, the shift was going to happen eventually. You know, he just had to calm. You know, Pac, and I know people that worked on Juice, so they told me what Pac was like on set. Mental,
right?
Dude was he typical Gemini, good 1 minute, a nut the next minute. You know what I'm saying? Right. I heard he was always trying to be close with the thugs and stuff like that in the area, and really trying to, you know, play them close and you know, move like them. So he's a little hot-headed, which unfortunately led to his demise. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, man, I always said, man, if he was still around, because he's great in that film.
Yeah. He's great. He's great. He's great in Poetic Justice. He's great in a lot of films.
Yes.
He's just a phenomenal actor. I actually did a 15-minute interview with Ernest Dickinson on Geeks of Color. I'm gonna put that in the description.
Do.
But yeah, we talked a lot about like working with Tupac as a first-time actor. Like he was also like, this was also before he popped off as a rapper too, like in Juice. Like he was literally, I think Ernest Dickinson said he was recording his first album. Like,
yeah, because he was still like a roadie dancer for Digital Underground around that time.
Exactly. Yeah. And his first feature didn't come out until that same year, until 1991, with Digital Underground. Which, by the way, such a funny mirror image that Boys in the Hood, I believe, came out in May of 1990, or it came out in 90. Yeah,
that was 91. Yeah,
91. 91, and then but Juice came out in like 1992, like almost like just a few months like afterwards. Like, but they're almost kind of like mirror versions of each other, like East Coast, West Coast, like life of the of the hood. So it's an interesting look. For sure.
Yeah. And then you had 91 was New Jack City, which 91 was the boom for black filmmakers. You know, there's a lot of black film dropping around that time. New Jack City hit the scene. New Jack City was actually kind of controversial because out in Brooklyn, there's actually instances out here too. But out in Brooklyn at the Duffield Theater, downtown Brooklyn, opening day for New Jack City, somebody gets killed.
Oh, really?
And that shut down the theater. And then out here at Westwood Village, I think they oversold tickets. And what happened is a riot breaks out.
What?
In Westwood Village.
For New Jack City?
For New Jack City. The movie, people wanted to see it. And it just, and then, back then, there's no social media. So the media controlled a lot of the conversation. So sensationalism was in full effect. Once those incidents happened, I guess people go to the theater with that energy, like, yo, what's about to pop off? Like, you know what I'm saying? Right. They just like, yo, what's up? Like, I got my tool on me. What's up? Who fucking with me? I got the juice now. What's up? You know what I'm saying? So they go sit there with that energy, and then what ends up happening, which I ended up seeing because my first job was in the movie theater in 2005. I was working when Get Rich or Die Trying came out. So what ends up happening is that every black film, after that, especially if there's hip hop involved, police is at the movie theaters.
Oh, for a word. Yeah. Just for that movie?
Just for that film.
Dang.
Just for that film, because not too long after that, there's a news report. Jungle Fever came out, Westwood Village, somebody, and I think it was a white person. I know for a fact this was a white person because they showed the flyer and it was very. If you ever see those white trolls, those MAGA trolls on social media when they try to act like black, remember with the Black Lives Matter?
Yeah,
the blacks rule. It's
right. What?
Yeah, black people do not talk like that.
Right.
So it was like a flyer, and it was like, yeah, we're gonna riot for this and that for Malcolm X, and I forget what the fine text was in the flyer, but it was just very stereotypical shit. And it was like a boogaloo joint. We're going to riot the theater. You could tell it was white people conspiring. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's the stigma. You know, we talk about hip hop and the violence. And, you know, George said it was West Coast. A lot of people believe that, you know, the West Coast kind of fueled that. But it was happening all over. You know
it was everywhere. It was
everywhere. And then John Singleton tells a story of when John Singleton went to go see Boys in the Hood at Universal. He was, you know, when Universal got that long, windy road to go up, that hill to go up.
Right.
He was like, yo, I go to see the movie, or he went to go check out the crowd, or he either went to go see the movie or check out the crowd. And he was there in the theater, and he saw people, and he was like, I started to notice there was different sets in there.
Yeah.
And he said, yo, like, I got the fuck up out of there. But he was like, when I got up out of there, as he's coming down the hill, cops is coming up.
Really?
And it was a big shootout stuff at Universal for Boys in the Hood. So it was like that energy, you know what I'm saying? That energy was there, and yeah.
I think that's the one thing like about LA that's like distinct is like the territorial aspect of it. I mean, you were talking about with New York, you got the different boroughs, like y'all don't really mess with each other. Well, here is just like the difference of blocks. You know what I mean? Like right here, if you stay right here, you probably, you know, Blood. If you're staying right here, you Crip. You know what I mean? Fruit Gang. You know, wherever you want to, wherever you you know, wherever you're located is like essentially where you have to rep. You know what I mean?
I always say gang culture in New York is fake.
Really?
Because it's like motherfuckers just wear the red and the yellow, the blue. They color coordinate. They got the bandanas, but it ain't real. Out here in LA, you could be standing next to a Crip and you wouldn't even know.
Yeah, nah.
Somebody's grandmother is a Crip.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
so
right.
it's deep out here, you know. So, you know, you had New Jack City, you know, New Jack City 91, Juice 92. Those films take place in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? New Jack City, like George said, it kind of glamorized the crack. Not glamorized it, because there definitely was a message to end this shit. But it was a very Hollywood version of the crack era and what was going on. You know, the fly suits, the music, everything was kind of glamorized in a sense.
Right.
But it did have a very sobering message with the character of Pookie, played by Chris Rock. You know, we see his decline. You know what I'm saying? At the beginning of the film, he's just a runner, whatever, and by the end of the film, he's a straight up crackhead.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right,
Ice-T playing a cop, which was probably crazy at the time.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, Law and Order years ago. But then, you know, he had this, cop killer. He got the music. You know what I'm saying? So to see him play a cop, I'm pretty sure that was kind of weird for him. You know what I'm saying?
It's like Ice Cube when he did the Ride Along movies. You're like, oh, really? Like, this dude became a cop.
yeah. You know, so it is funny because Ice Cube ends up playing a cop again in 21 Jump Street. It's always in comedies he played cops, I feel.
Yeah, he's not gonna be no serious cop.
He ain't gonna be no cop for real. Cube, even though he would make a mean cop, he got that permanent grill on his face. Like, he is the cop you don't want to fuck with.
Right.
You know, but then I just, street cred, you know what I'm saying? That probably make him feel and look crazy. You know what I'm saying? 93 is interesting year with hip hop and film because you get two rap mockumentaries. They're both inspired by This Is Spinal Tap, which is, I forget.
Rob Reiner.
Rob Reiner. You know, where it follows a rock group, you know, all the silly shit that they go through. Right. But in 93, you get CB4 and you get Fear of a Black Hat.
Oh, I've seen CB4. Yeah.
CB4, everybody knows is Chris Rock, you know, Alan Payne, Deezer D, you know, there's a bunch of people in that film. You know, they did Straight Outta Low Cash. They making fun of NWA. Fear of a Black Hat does the same exact thing. Fear of a Black Hat was made before CB4. That's Rusty Cundiff, who ends up directing Tales from the Hood in 95. Sprung in 97. He does the Chappelle Show and stuff like that. He was a comic actor, you know. He was in that. He's kind of, I didn't really see him on stand-up stages much, but I heard he was a comic. You know what I'm saying? So He does that film, and it becomes a hit in Sundance, but doesn't get purchased until like 94. Purchased and released until like 94.
Really?
Yeah. And
what was that one called again?
Fear of a Black Hat.
Fear of a Black Hat. Okay.
Yeah, so it's about a group, NWH, Negroes with hats. You know what I'm saying? They got a song called Booty Juice, and all sorts of silly shit. PUSSY. And it's like Rusty Cundiff's character. He's always trying to break it down to make everything political. Like, yeah, it's about political unrest. This and that, and why? Because motherfuckers need to know why. Like, it's shit like that. It's a good film. It's low budget. It's a good film, but it only earned like 25. It cost less than $1 million, but it still lost money at the box office. It didn't do much. CB4 too. CB4 comes out and it was number one, and then it just tanked after that. You know what I'm saying? But CB4 got more push because it's Chris Rock. He was hot on SNL and all that stuff going on. Are you a fan of CB4?
I like that movie. I mean, I haven't actually. That's another one I got to go rewatch. Yeah, but because there definitely is some parts. There's some parts that are goofy. But man, I mean, obviously you posted that clip like
Black Y'all.
Yeah, right,
Black Y'all.
right. Yeah, that was always funny. The interactions he always has with like the white women in that movie are just like. Always stand out to me. Yeah, that movie's just funny, bro. Like, but that's another one I gotta go rewatch because I didn't even think about it as like a rap movie until you just mentioned that.
Yeah. It wasn't until the other day I was like, yo, CB4, like, what's wrong with me? Like, I gotta go back and watch that. So I checked that out in Fear of a Black Hat. It's just interesting that they were both made around the same time, and it's just like, what happened? Do you think you would know? In Hollywood, is a thing where like. Somebody's writing a script and people kind of hear about it and be like, oh, like, let me try to get this out before. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's a thing, especially Black Hollywood is so small. I think that it's most likely going to happen then.
Right. It's like that's why a lot of people just don't tell people anything.
As you should.
Know what I mean?
As you should.
But yeah, no, that's crazy though because I wouldn't even thought my 90s hip hop movies. I literally was only. I've only thought of, like Friday, but I don't even know if Friday is really a hip hop movie.
No, it is. Listen, as long as rap is in it and it's the culture.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? So
it's more about the culture, because I know we're gonna do another episode later about like movies specifically.
Oh yeah, that's a whole the rapper turned actor thing is a whole another conversation. And it was one that was very controversial back then. A lot of actors was not feeling that.
Really?
Yeah, rappers getting gigs before that.
Oh yeah. I know Samuel Jackson had a quote about that back in the day too. Yeah. But man, Friday to me, that's the 95, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that came out. I told everybody before when our Greatest Black Movies podcast, there was a period in like 2009 and like 2011, 2012. I was probably watching that movie every single weekend. You know what I mean?
I don't blame you.
Yeah, it was like just the comedy just hits on every level. For one, it's also like really, I feel like it's a little bit weirdly complex too. You know what I mean? In terms of like how, I mean, I guess not complex is not the right word, but it does kind of open up a few interesting questions, right? Like with Debo and the Nia Long situation, or Debo, Felicia, Nia Long, like like how Debo kind of like hits Felicia, and then Nia Long's defending him, and then and then Q, he's been looking for a reason to get at Debo all day. Yeah. And then Debo, I mean, just by the way, the whole concept of a Debo, right? Because that is something that is a very West Coast thing too. Just how you're saying, like, there's how George is saying, there's always that one guy like Juice, like Bishop and Tupac. There's always that dude like Debo on every block. Like,
there's a Debo everywhere.
Everybody. Still every chain, every watch, what I mean? And just not care. And everybody knows it's him, but they ain't nobody gonna say nothing.
Ain't nobody gonna say nothing.
Right.
Yeah, you see what Debo did to Red? That man flew in the air off an uppercut. Ain't nobody trying to see Debo.
Right. Yeah, it definitely.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
The real villain of that movie is Smokey.
Well, Smokey was messing up. Yeah.
Smokey from the first time you see Smokey, first of all, you run up in my man's rip his
blinds.
You rip his blinds, right? His curtain, all that. Yeah. So off rip, you starting off on the wrong foot with me, all right? And then
you point the gun on him right there.
Yeah. And then like, as the day progresses, Smokey now, he got, okay, you get fired, it's your day off, here's smoke this weed. Smokey's supposed to be selling for Big Worm. Why is he smoking the product?
Right.
And then throws Craig's name in it.
He's like, yo, I was just trying to help my man Craig out. You
Like,
know what I mean? Yeah,
and we was getting fucked up. Like, what doing we? What is this we? You speak French now? What is this we? Yo,
because Craig really didn't do that much in the movie.
He didn't really smoke that much. Like, why you threw Craig in the why you threw him in the blend like that? Come on, man.
For how much weed Big Worm probably gave Smokey, like that was an insignificant, tiny amount.
That man sent killers to his crib. So whatever he smoked, that was real.
Yeah.
That was real. So it's like, yo, son, Smokey is the worst friend ever. Then when Big Worm tell him, you gonna kill me? Yes. Yes. Like, yo, I'm gonna kill you and him. Like, come on, son.
Playing with me is like playing with my emotions.
Yeah, like, you know it is just the shenanigans that ensue. That movie, I think I told you, Michael, that's Michael Jordan's favorite film.
Oh, Michael Jordan's favorite film? For real? I didn't know that. Oh, that's dope.
That's one of to this. I went to go see Friday in theaters. I went to the Criterion in Times Square. It's now a big ass Gap, or it used to be a Toys R Us. It's now a big ass Gap. And I went there to see that. I remember people was just like that scene when he was with the Mexicans. He smoked the angel dust.
Oh yeah, he was going
running down. People
were
I'm talking like Def Comedy Jam in they seats like jumping, going crazy. Like
that's that kind of.
I remember that. That was a day one classic, man. Day one classic.
Bernie Mac coming out.
A lot of people was in that film.
And
a lot of people are no longer with us in that film. John Witherspoon. Bernie Mac. Yvette Wilson. Debo. Tony Lister.
Tony Lister.
You know, that's why I keep. You said mention that. You know, and that's why when people are talking about they want to follow up, next Friday, follow up another Friday, it's like
it's done.
It's sorry, Q, man. Sorry. No, they really screwed him with that merger with WB and New Line Cinema. Like, now you got other people calling shots, and it's not the same regime anymore. You know what I'm saying? You can't just get stuff greenlit like you did before.
And then just God. Calmatic, my guy, stay as far away from Friday as possible. No disrespect to you. But if you touch Friday, I might have to throw hands.
Yo, like when when the cops is having a stand up, like put the classic black film down. Cal Mack's probably looking at a DVD like, we could do with this, right? It's like, hey, put that shit down.
We don't want it.
I don't want a Friday remix. Bad enough they did a cartoon.
Right.
That was bad. Thank God people forgot about that. Yeah. That was bad. You know what I'm saying? But then you get again talking about the culture films like Set It Off, another F. Gary Gray film. Set It Off, stuff like that. Are you familiar with the film called Who's the Man?
Yes.
Ed Lover, Dr. Dre. They used to be on Yo MTV Raps. They were MTV VJs. They ended up getting a film. I don't think MTV Films was established then. But it should have been, because it was like everybody is in that film. Like Kurt Loder is in it playing a gangster. Karen Duffy, who was a VJ at the time, she's in it. Dennis Leary. And then there's the rappers that's in it. And if you give me a second, I'm going to read off the list of rappers that is in this film. All right?
Which film is this again?
Who's the Man?
Okay. I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen it. You know what I mean?
Yo. Salt from Salt. Well, Salt and Pepper's in it. Guru from Gangstar's in it. Ice-T. Be Real from Cypress Hill. Who else? Bow-Legged Lou from Full Force. He was one of the bullies in House Party. Bushwick Bill, Busta Rhymes, Chi Ali, CL Smooth, Danny Boy, D Nice. Drez from you could go with this, you could go with that. Black Sheep. Flavor Flav, Fab Five Freddy, Eric B from Eric B and Rakim. Heavy D, House of Pain, Kid Capri, Humpty Hump, Shock G. KRS-One, Melly Mel, Moni Love, Naughty by Nature, Pete Rock, Fife Dog, Run DMC. It goes on and on. It goes on and on. Because now if I start naming the rest of the rappers, that's rappers in like 92, 93.
Right.
But they're like all in that film.
Really?
And it's like little split. You'll see a scene where somebody's in the crowd, but the camera just happened to take a sweet time to go by him, so oh, that's so-and-so. It's literally who's who of rappers. It's a hip-hop whodunit. Ed Love and Dr. Dre play these two barbers that end up becoming cops. They're trying to investigate the death of their mans. that died, and it's hilarious. I watched that film last night for the first time in a while. It's hilarious, man. You gotta check that. You gotta check it out, man.
Okay, word,
It's a silly comedy, and I love when hip hop films go into that lane, like when it's not too serious and it's just goofy.
Yeah,
You know?
because I think that's what the late 90s, early 2000s kind of, got into is less of the hood films, particularly got into the comedy. Also got into the romance genre, like with Brown Sugar, which is one of my, I watched that movie a few times too. I really enjoyed that one. Shout out Rick Famuyiwa. He's the director of that film, USC graduate, and he does a lot. He did Dope and The Wood.
I didn't like Dope.
You didn't like Dope, yeah.
Dope lost me, man. Dope. I went to go see when I saw the trailer again. I'm getting that feel of House Party. I'm like, oh, good young black youth, cool. Like I want to see what they get into, and then they go into the drug thing, and it was just like.
Yeah.
The movie kind of it just lost. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting. It lost me once that got introduced. I was just like, what's going on now?
I feel you. I think I saw it at the age like I was literally at that age like when that movie came out. Like I was like relating to these characters.
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked it only on the. I liked it because obviously like I was that age, but I also liked it because for one, I thought A$AP Rocky was like actually hilarious in that little part that he had. And then two, I had the biggest crush on. What's homegirl name? Zoe. No.
The girl that was in their crew.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh man, she's in Swarm. Kiersey Clemens.
Okay, not Kiersey Clemens, but the she was just Catwoman.
Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz. That's right.
She's in that movie.
Yeah. That was the first. That was literally the first time I saw her in that movie.
I forget she's in that movie.
Yeah, she has like these beautiful braids. Like, oh man,
I saw
amazing.
I saw her around that time. I was going home one night, and she was coming out the train, and she's beautiful though. She's small, but she's beautiful.
Yeah, dude,
God.
man, that was
Shout out to Zoe Kravitz, man. We love you over here, Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe
we
Kravitz.
love you.
Yeah, we're a fan base, man.
Yeah,
but that was but Brown Sugar. I want to ask you as a New Yorker because there's a lot about New York hip hop in that movie. A lot of them, homeboy, wanted to be a rapper. Homegirl was like kind of narrating through the raps. Did that feel like culturally good to you as a New Yorker? Like, because I know they had homeboy in there. Most Def. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a very polished, sweet, cute. It was it was a polished film.
Right.
It was super Hollywood. It was a very polished film. Honestly, it's been a while since I've seen something authentically like. I don't know. It's been some time since I've seen something that felt like it was like, oh shit, like this is what's really happening outside. Not to say that everything in that film was fake. It was just a very polished film. It was a very, it was a cute.
There's no danger. This is more about the music business.
Yeah, exactly. They had
the
the group in there that was like Dalmatians. It was like,
the
whole
one white guy, the one black guy.
Yeah. But around that time, we got 8 Mile.
Right. Which, by the way, I'm gonna just pull this out right now so I don't forget. Should have did this earlier in the show. We got 8 Mile Blu-ray.
Oh.
Steelbook. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
So if you're watching this episode and you're ready for some 8 Mile, boom. 8 Mile Steelbook. You can only get this. You can only get this if you participate in our giveaways. Comment on Spotify if you're listening. If you listen on Spotify, follow us on Spotify.
For sure.
If you're listening on Apple, leave us a comment on Apple. And if you're watching on YouTube, go over to Spotify or Apple and leave us a comment, doggone it.
What Eminem said? You only have one shot.
Only got one shot for this 4K 25th anniversary Steelbook with the digital download. It's 4K Blu-ray, regular Blu-ray, and the digital download code. Unwrapped, epic rap, the making of. You get the uncensored Superman Eminem music video on here, which is hilarious. Right. But yeah, check out 8 Mile. We gotta talk. But I liked the movie when I first saw it. You know what I mean? I don't love it. I think probably when I first saw it, I liked it way more. Just because I think the filmmaking is actually pretty good in it. Like the storytelling, it's actually a really good origin story. Just take the Eminem part out of it. It's actually a good character origin story through and through. Just some guy who obviously everybody in his life is like kind of effing him over. His mom's, his
played
best
by Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger, right. His friends. I mean Anthony Mackie.
Mackie.
Right.
His Papa Doc.
Right. Ends up smashing on his girl. You know what I mean in the studio. So it's like it does a good job of showing you the adversity of like the young hip hop thing. Also being an outsider in the hip hop game. That's the one part I never was really able to relate to, and the fact that he's a white guy like rapping and he's like, I'm the outside. But they do a good job of showing like how.
I mean,
showing
if you think about it, this was. Remember, Vanilla Ice kind of fucked it up for all the white rappers. And Vanilla Ice has a film too, by the way, called Cool as Ice. Unfortunately,
I forgot about that.
unfortunately, I lost my remote one day. I was home. I lost my remote, and Cool as Ice was on HBO. That is one of the worst films I've ever seen. It is corny as hell. Drop the zero and get with the hero. Like, get the fuck out of here, Vanilla Ice. So Vanilla Ice kind of fucked it up for white boys for a little while as far as rap. So I understand, Eminem being the outsider a bit because, this is back when we was still gatekeeping.
Yeah.
This is back when black folks still had the, we was gatekeeping the culture, and, for him to break through was a big deal. And he was kind of an outsider because he had to come and prove himself.
Yeah. I think he's an outsider also among, white rappers too, because at the time, obviously there was like Beastie Boys on the radio, like you said, Vanilla Ice, much more of a cornier direction. He was the only one, and they do a good job showing it in this movie of like him taking his actual experiences and putting that into rap, and also not making himself try to sound black either. I've always respected that about Eminem.
I always respect, Eminem, like if early M, like my brother would speak more on it. He knows early M, and M is nice. Like, he lost me when he got a little bit to the Pop Tart charts. When he started doing the most.
I'm the rap god.
Yeah, rap god. It's like, nah, I'm good. No, thank you. But I was in high school when this came out. I remember that weekend when it came out. I didn't see it when it came out. I waited to rent it. And them freestyles, them battles, that shit went like quadruple platinum in the hood because everybody got on LimeWire or Kazaa and downloaded the audio from the film. Like there was people with that on their mixed CDs.
Yeah, just the rap battles.
Yeah, just the rap battles.
I've heard those beats. Like I've heard people like use those beats.
Yeah, and that's another thing. The beats, I think Shook Ones and stuff like that is Mobb Deep. I heard M had to get it cleared and put it in position where they're getting paid for off this film.
Oh, word.
Those
I respect that. That's
shout out to Eminem, man. You making sure brothers got their pockets is lined, and that's song placement in the film. That's a big deal, and that's and with a lot of the hip hop films that we talked about, one thing that they're known for is the soundtracks. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of song placement in these films, and there's scenes where you hear certain songs, you can't help but think of a certain scene. You know what I'm saying in a film. Mary Jane, to this day, I think about Smokey, that montage with him and Craig.
Yeah, exactly.
He was doing the Michael Jackson. I think about all of that because the music was so central to. That's why I consider a lot of those films hip hop films, because the music was so. It wasn't a musical, but that music placement, man, it was just like you can't miss it.
Yeah, right. And I think that's why. I think that's why this movie was one of the many reasons why this movie does so well. Even this original songs, "Lose Yourself" obviously is the first rap song to ever win.
White boy anthem, dog.
Right.
My brother's a DJ. My brother would be DJing, and it'll be in the middle of like a reggae set, and here come a white boy. Hey, you gotta lose yourself. Like, motherfuckers is not playing "Lose Yourself." I'm sorry, motherfuckers is not playing that. They're not playing that shit in the middle of a set, dog. Like, what's wrong with you? Go home, listen to that shit, dog. But it was a hit record.
It was a hit record.
Mom Spaghetti,
Mom Spaghetti. Man, first rap song to win the Oscar, which still confuses me.
Oh wait, it is?
Yeah. First rap song ever to win the Oscar for Best Original Song. Yeah.
And funny you say that because 3 6 Mafia, Hard Out Here for a Pimp. Yo, I was watching the Oscars when that was being performed. It looked like hip hop on Broadway, but I could not believe what I was seeing. That was like a real watershed moment for the culture. You know, because
they had the cars out there, they had the dancers,
and then they win the Oscar.
Right.
Queen Latifah, that was just a beautiful moment for the culture. If you love film and hip hop the way I do, it was like, oh my god, like it was like a marriage of both. It's like Queen Latifah Latifah, who breaks through. We didn't even touch on Queen Latifah, but again, we could talk about her
And
in
then
another
rappers
episode.
and actors,
you know, she blew up. You know,
like you said, set it off. Was definitely,
I think it's people like her and Will Smith. It's easy to forget that they were rappers. If you don't know,
they're bigger stars than as actors than they were rappers for sure.
Yeah, you know, Queen Latifah, presented the award to them. You know, Juicy J, DJ Paul. That was just wild to see, though. I never thought I would see them on that stage. You know what I'm saying?
And I think that's why. For me, I love that song. It's hard out here for like Taraji P. Henson singing that anthem. It's just such a catchy song that I don't even think like. I think there are other movies that were probably like more acclaimed and had like better things, but you can't deny the catchiness of that song. Like that was a radio hit outside of the movie. So when you got to show love to it in the movie, and I think that was really. I mean, obviously Eminem but then we see that go into rap centric movies like Black Panther,
Kendrick.
You're right. With all the stars, which I thought should have won that year too.
Absolutely.
And this year too, again with Rihanna, not necessarily a rap song, but that should have won too. But man, I love seeing. I love Hustle and Flow, man. I love Terrence Howard, bro.
I haven't seen that one in a while, but I did. I remember my first job at a movie theater. We were showing that, and I went in on my day off to watch it. It was a good movie. I remember coming out the film like, oh, that was dope.
Yeah. Anthony Anderson, like, they do a really good job of like showing like the grime and grit of like just the creative process. Yeah. Just like everybody in this tight, small room making these beats, sweating like no tomorrow, and Taraji P's literally pregnant, and she's trying to hold it down for everybody, and they get in the booth. To me, it's just such a fun not transformative, but such a fun story that like transitions from that's just not a normal kind of hip hop story from the South. Like that's one of the first Southern hip hop movies I could think of off the top of my head.
Yeah. I would throw ATL in that conversation.
Oh, too. ATL too. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Hustle and Flow, man. They just did that movie right. And I make this joke with my girlfriend. Like Taraji P. Henson, she's such a good actress. You could almost think she's British. You know what I mean? Like like there's a lot of British actors that be American. You just don't know. Like I feel like Taraji P. is like the one American actress. I'm like, you could be British. Like
I mean, she's good in anything she do. Baby Boys will put it on the map.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
That's a movie we'll have a conversation about another time because I got a lot of thoughts about that film. But that one is also ingrained. It's hard to deny the films of John Singleton when talking about hip hop. Boys in the Hood, you got Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying? Poetic Justice, Q-Tip, Tupac. Higher Learning, Ice Cube. Everything is just so. It's like he had his. I mean, he's black. Of course, he had his ears to the streets, but it was just so like rich. Like the culture is so rich in these films.
Even in Baby Boy, for one, the soundtrack to Baby Boy is like next level. Just like all the LA hip hop they had in that. And then the glorification of Pac. You know what I mean? Because obviously John Singleton was close friends with Pac.
And I heard he was supposed to be the lead in Baby Boy.
He was. That's right. That's right. And then obviously Tyrese ended up being that. So
the only R&B artist that's suffering from CTE. Tyrese, there's something wrong with that brother, man.
He did too many Fast and Furious movies. Saw too many explosions. But yeah, man. Yeah, I guess that puts us into like the late 2000s, right? Like
I kind of wanted to touch on like the three strikes and stuff like that. Like that's West Coast. Like Master P comes into the scene and does a lot of these, low budget, straight to DVD.
I haven't seen that, so
you haven't seen I Got the Hookup?
Nah.
Maybe it's good that you didn't see it because these films aren't great. These films are not great. They have moments. Three Strikes. It has moments. I wouldn't call it a classic, and I think we kind of lose hip hop and film, being prevalent in film for a while until maybe Straight Outta Compton.
Well, I mean, we can't skip over Notorious, bro. I mean, come on, man.
All right. I really try to forget about Notorious and All Eyes on Me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, we ain't gotta talk about All Eyes on Me. But I actually haven't seen All Eyes.
Oh, you haven't?
I haven't seen it, bro. So you have to give me a lowdown on that one.
I was gonna say, if we're gonna talk about Notorious, we gotta talk about All Eyes on Me. But Notorious, man, I went to go see that was 2009. I went to go see that when it came out. I remember it was an event for me. Brooklyn. We got me and my mans. We got fly. We had the Jordan black and red Jordan 11. We was fly. I went to go see Notorious, and we was like, we gonna go to the movie, we gonna bag girls, we gonna enjoy this film. Like,
that's the kind of energy that was.
Yeah, that was the energy I was on, you know. And I remember I bought my ticket early, like it was a big deal. And I know in New York they was really promoting the hell out of it, you know. Notorious was, I mean, shout out to George Tillman Jr. He's the director of Soul Food, and I forget what other film he did, but he Men of Honor with Cuba Gooding Jr.
Right, The Hate I Give.
Came out. That's true. He did make that, and he directed Notorious, and it was, you know, and I guess you could say the same about Straight Outta Compton. It was very much a VH1 behind the music take on Biggie's life. You know, it was definitely cliff noted like a motherfucker.
Right. Cradle to grave.
Yeah, like granted, I don't need an epic 3-hour thing with every detail of Biggie's life, but you know, I think it did something that a lot of music biopics I've seen don't do. You know, if I can compare it to anything like Whitney Houston's film, like that film, literally, it had a great start and then it just became this song, that song, this song, that song, this song. Whereas this film didn't do that. It tried to kind of tell a little bit more of a story, but it was done so in such a breeze. It was just like, I don't know. It was very, and that's another film that was very glossy. It was just too glossy for me. It's one of the words I could use to describe it. Just very glossy, and I didn't really get the street shit. Like Brooklyn was real around that time. I just didn't really feel that energy in that film.
Yeah, I mean that's the downside of doing the cradle to grave kind of stories is. They kind of end up skipping up over a lot of stuff. I feel like the first 20, it's so funny because like this film is almost like 4 films inside of one. Like the first 20 minutes are young Biggie, who's played by Biggie's real life son.
Yes.
And obviously him doing that, but also is going into the prison stuff. And he ends up getting arrested in jail. And they tell this like pretty much from age 1 to like 17 or 18 in like 20 minutes. And that in and of itself could have been an entire film. Like it was the whole montage of like slinging the rock and all that. Yeah. That could have been a film. Him writing the rhymes as a kid and then seeing the other kids with the Jordans and the chains, you know, that was good. But again, it's all presented in montage. Him getting arrested and getting out of jail is presented in montage. So it almost kind of makes you feel like, yo, this movie could have started like 25 minutes in and probably would have been the exact same. You know? But I like, for me, I think I was just like, I saw it at the exact right age for me personally. So I'm fully on board with it. Because I mean, it is definitely trying to tell a lot and it goes a lot. I don't know. For me, I guess I like the parts in the beginning with the kid because like it's just positive fat representation. You know what I mean? Like you be fat, black, and ugly and still get girls. You know what I mean? That's what that movie was telling me as a young kid. But that I like the performances too. I think Jamal Wallace Jr. I believe his name is. Or Jamal Wallace.
Woodard.
Okay.
Something like that.
I might be mispronouncing that. Yeah.
Gravy. He's known in the streets as Gravy. That was his rap name, Gravy.
Oh, so he's an actual rapper.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a real rapper.
The flow was nice. Was nice. So for me, I'm not. I wasn't on the East Coast. You know what I mean? So I wasn't really sure how the street. It's more of an outside perspective. Again, I think that's the reason I also like that Wu-Tang show on Hulu, which is also a great hip hop show, by the way. Like
I still have to tap into that. Bro.
Yeah, it's a great hip hop show, just showing them, make the music and just become a group. And like the first season is like All in the Hood. Second season is like first half of them. The first half of the second season is them like coming together like Avengers style. Right. And then the second half of the season is them just being super successful. So it's just dope. It's just really dope. But I'm saying all that for Notorious though, because it also shows a little bit of that too, right? Like him cutting, like that was my favorite part of the movie. That's the only time it didn't feel like super rushed when they're in the studio and recording a bunch of their songs together. Yeah. And you could kind of hear Biggie's like flow a little bit. And this movie definitely made me a Biggie Smalls fan as a little kid. That's dope. For sure.
Despite how I feel about the film, I don't think it's a bad film. It's just okay. It's just like,
it's okay.
It does what it's supposed to do. It's literally, again, it's like a after school. It's like how I feel about Jackie Robinson 42. It's like an after school special. It's like you want a quick history lesson here. It's a nice glossy little cute little thing, So if it did that for you, that's amazing because that's probably what they wanted to do.
I mean, to appeal to the kids, exactly. I mean, to me,
Well, it's a rated R film, so they're not trying to appeal to the kids per se.
Right.
But the kids are going to see it. So.
Right, exactly. And that's why, for me, I've always said, like, even though I love West Coast rap, like, if I was to be a rapper, I would probably try and rip off Biggie's flows the most. Because, like, I love his flow, like, all the way through.
One of the greatest, man.
Definitely one of the ghosts, man. And Little Kim in this movie, who I forget who the actress is.
Tori Houghton.
Yeah.
From 3LW.
Yeah, she's actually like her in this movie a lot. Yeah. I like that whole story, the Faith Evans storyline. The scene when he listens to the song, the Tupac song in the car, and you just see like that quiet look on his face, just like, and then his homie hands him the magazine with him.
First of all, I always make fun of biopics when they do shit like that. Like, you know damn well that's not how it played out, but they do it so conveniently to get you, the audience, invested. It's like when they, like, let's say, I'm just gonna make up some shit. It's like Kendrick is in the studio, and it's like, let's say it's a Kendrick biopic, and he's listening to the song. And then, he's looking at the TV, he sees Black Lives Matter stuff happening, and then somebody goes, Kendrick, we gonna be all right. the needle drop, boom, the song starts. I hate when biopics do that shit, dog.
Yo, and that's a lot of Straight Outta Compton, bro. That's like all of Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah, which this is a perfect segue. We're not even gonna talk about All Eyes on Me. That shit. Listen, you can listen. There's a lot of places you can go and hear about that. I don't got time to be joking about that film. I could go on and on and on. But we do get a very funny Tupac portrayal in
Demetrius Shipp.
No, in Notorious.
Anthony Mackie. Oh man. Oh my God.
I'm Tupac. Yeah.
Hey, yo, check it out, motherfucker. I'm Tupac.
I'm like, nah, you came from a middle class household.
Yeah, he was just all hype. Yeah, motherfucker, I'm Tupac. Like, nah, dog. Yeah. But Straight Outta Compton. Now, I had gotten a early screening for Straight Outta Compton. I attended an early screening for that, and I really liked it. Now, it's funny because it might end up being like how he felt about Notorious, how I felt. It might be the same way. It might be vice versa now for Straight Outta Compton. I really liked the film because, again, I knew about the VH1 behind the story take on NWA's rise and fall. You know what I'm saying? And I just felt like, F. Gary Gray at the helm, and the people that was put in place, especially Ice Cube's son. Yeah, I love Ice Cube. Like, he's like a top 5 MC to me. And like that scene where they're like in the roller skate or something, the skating rink or something like that, and he performs for the first time. That was like watching like a Batman. It's like when you see Batman first put on the suit. Right. Like I had goosebumps because I was like, yo, like he sound like his dad. He looked like his dad, a little light skin, but he looked like his dad. He sound like him. Right. And the flow, that was so dope. And then the film, like as it played out again, it's very much a Cliff Noted version of the story. Right. I'm actually still learning about NWA. I'm listening to podcasts and stuff like that. I'm still learning about what really happened. Shout out to Corey Hawkins. Is that his name? Yes. Dr. He's Dre, a very nice young man, but Dre was a piece of shit in real life. Oh, yeah. Alcoholic. Oh, yeah. D Barnes. And you Google D Barnes and Dr. Dre.
She follows me on Twitter, by the way.
Oh, shout out to D Barnes. Shout out to you, sister. That's a very, I felt it ever since I found out about his story, and I'm seeing Dre get all these accolades. It's like, damn, I feel bad for her. It's like, imagine having to relive. That's trauma you got to relive. Again, Google her. You'll see what happened. I don't want to really get into that.
Yeah, but I heard allegedly they also filmed a scene portraying that situation, but they just cut it out the film. So it's like, really? Yeah. So they actually did. They were going to address it in some way, but they just didn't, I guess. Dr. J was like, nah, cut that out. Like, I don't want that. Like,
nah, man. But everything. Yeah, who else was in this? Aldous Hodge plays one of the NWA members.
Jason Mitchell as Eazy-E.
Yes. Oh, how could I forget? He was really good in this film. But going back to the moments that they have in the film like that, like I'm thinking one scene that I always laugh at, and it's me because I love Cube so much, and I love America's Most Wanted. I love Chuck D. I love everything Cube was doing in that moment. That was like a perfect debut album. But I think about the scene where they, the N-word you love to hate, and they he's in the booth rapping it, and you see Chuck D in the control. You see Chuck D in the control booth. You see some Nation of Islam brothers. Then you see Farrakhan on the TV. It was just such a, I wouldn't mind it if it was done. Okay, you've seen Rocket Man, right?
Yes.
You see how Rocket Man told Elton John's story, but it was a very fantastical, exaggerative way. But the music, I wouldn't mind it if it was like that. And I think we need to do that with hip hop films, man. I think they need to get to a point where you're telling stories where you could do shit like that. It doesn't come up as corny because you're really kind of being extra with it. Right.
And that's what, the movie. I think the movie did. It did really good at trying to keep it real. But also like dramatizing a lot of stuff. I mean, it dramatized so much, man. Yeah. Like, it's so funny. Like, when you like watch podcasts or interviews, like I watched that Defiance one on HBO, and they which also came out like around the same time, or like around the Blu-ray release of Straight Outta Compton. But yeah, they straight up say like, yo, the reason why we made Straight Outta Compton was not like how it was in the movie. Like, we didn't get pulled up by Torrance PD and like all that. Nah, they were shooting paint guns outside of people's cars and doing stupid stuff. Same thing with I mean, there's mass scenes. I mean, obviously it's that corny little thing where he's like typing the script to Friday, like what I mean? Like, it's all that. I ain't gonna lie though, I'm a goof. I like that like corny stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I like when they have those little funny moments. Straight Outta Compton is actually on my Great Wall of Movies up there. I really love that film through and through. It was one of the better films. I think that came out that year, 2015. Yeah,
I remember, at one point, they was talking Oscar talk.
Yeah, and it was nominated for Best Original Screenplay.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
But that's the downside of it, right? Like this black ass movie, the only thing that gets nominated for is the two Jewish writers that wrote it. Bro, come on. Right. But
I would talk, but you ain't gonna Kanye me right now.
Right. But I mean, yeah, but they does from the opening scene, man. And I'm saying this, I grew up in Compton. They do a really good job of portraying the city, the houses. Like, they shot a lot in like Compton, South LA, so you really get that vibe. That opening scene when Eazy-E is getting his mug knocked down by the Batarang, bro, that is one of the hardest movie scenes, opening scenes just ever. You know what I mean? Just how he's like running, and according to my mom, like, that was real. They used to really be doing that to people's houses, people's properties, just throwing the Batarang, man, knocking down entire walls. People getting arrested. So yeah,
again, crack era stuff.
Yeah, peak crack era. Yeah, so yeah, all that stuff they were rapping about in the 90s was like real. Ice-T had a song about, police
6 in the morning.
6 in the morning. Yeah, exactly. That's people don't realize that's what the movie was portraying. It's all of that and reality. So it was good, man. I really liked that movie. Again, like you said, it does gloss over a lot. Not only with Dr. Dre, I had some other issues with
I know there's people that talk about, they always reference the scene when Eazy-E's driving and he sees the Chronic billboard and he's kind of kind of smiling.
Yeah, that's a little cheesy.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with Eazy-E, which is so funny. Cube's alive, he gets his image perfect. Dr. Dre's alive, he gets his image perfect.
Oh, he got sanitized.
Yeah, super sanitized. Eazy-E will be rolling over in his grave. You saw that scene where they're like cruising down the street in my chicks. Like, bro, that's too disrespectful. I know he wasn't that bad, but it was a fun movie though, man. I gotta.
I mean, they do say Eazy wasn't no rapper.
Yeah, but I don't think it was that bad. Yeah. Like, that was looking crazy. That was crazy. But man, all the stuff that they show in the beginning too with the Worldwide Wrecking Crew, the corny outfits that Dr. Dre was wearing at the beginning as he was DJing, like all of that's very real too. Like, my mom has photos of like them, like not be my mom, somebody in my family like got like there's old photos of like Dre and them like looking like that. Like, I'm like, bro, like this is this is so real, bro. It's one of the realest biopics, but also again, like I said, they staged them up. They staged a lot of stuff up, but they get the location right, they get the music right. And Lakeith Stanfield, sorry, my bad. Lakeith Stanfield's Snoop Dogg.
That's right.
It was spot on casting. So they get the casting right. Everything was just dope.
And folks, with these biopics and stuff like that, you got to remember it's entertainment at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The whole thing is like, and this is why I loved, this is not a hip hop film, but what I love what Spike did with Malcolm X is, if you stick around for the ending credits, he gives you a big picture of the autobiography. He tells you, go read the book, the autobiography of Malcolm X. Like he pushed that. I heard at the time with the Spike Joint shop, he had a big thing with selling the book. Like he was really forcing people to buy the book. Like don't go buy just the film. You know, the film is cliff noted. It's really just it's a taste. You know, you're getting a little sample size of this person. You know, I've seen people just down films like, oh, it don't got this in it. Where's this? Where's that? Yo, you can't make a 4-hour, 5-hour film about everything. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's like, what was Straight Outta Compton? What, 2 hours? Like, you know, you can't
it's like
go
220. I think the extended cut's like 2:30. So it's already a long movie.
Yeah, and I remember people at the time on Twitter was like, yo, showing Easy found, you know, Bone Thugs. It's like, why do they need to be in the film?
That's too
like,
much. People are talking about being disappointed that Eminem didn't show up. I'm like, yo, that's way past the NWA era. Like, that's not even close.
And even Easy's, you know, no disrespect to Easy's kids, they was just very nitpicky. And it's like, yo, unfortunately, again, it's your dad. I get it, but you can't put every little detail in the film.
Right. And I think, you know, Easy's son, it was a little tight. He wanted to play Easy in the film, but they didn't let that happen. But shout out O'Shea Jackson Jr., man. Yes. He's in another film called Ingrid Goes West that it's just like literally, I always say like that's my character like in the movie, like because he's wearing a Laker jersey, he's like he's a super Batman fan, like he's a geek, but he's like, you know, it's just he's hitting pins, like it's literally like everything you can see in me as a character in that movie. So
yeah, his resume he blew up after Straight Outta Compton. Was he an actor before? Like, was he trying to act before that?
That was his first role.
But was he trying to act before that?
That's a good question. Well, apparently Ice Cube said he was taking acting classes. I don't know if it was in preparation for this role. I don't know if, you know, Cube kind of gave him the heads up, like, yo, we about to do this movie, like start getting ready. But whatever he did, he got ready, and he's good in other stuff too. Like he's in this TV show on Apple TV called Swagger. That's really good. It's like a based on Kevin Durant's life. He's in a couple other things that are.
I know he was in not Mandalorian. It was another Star Wars show.
A Book of Boba Fett maybe or something.
Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Listen, you know you made it when you cashing Disney checks, bro.
Right. Nah, for real.
So you know, so he made it. He's up there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cocaine Bear.
That's right. I forgot he was in that.
I was very whatever on Cocaine Bear when I saw trailers and stuff, but I watched it. It was actually a very fun.
On Peacock?
No. I saw it illegally.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
But
government ain't listening.
Yeah,
right.
But I did see it. It was actually pretty fun.
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah. I know we were talking about how they.
I just don't. I just didn't like, you know, and it got quiet since, which is like, what the fuck? Y'all should be doing that now, if anything. But I just didn't like how they was trying to make it the cult classic, you know, before it came out. Like, yo, like. Just let it be, let it happen. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Let that people naturally.
Yeah, let it happen. You know.
Yeah, nah, man. But man, that I like Cocaine Bear too. I like that movie. It was alright.
It was fun.
But man, Straight Outta Compton. There's one other scene I want to bring up, and it literally slipped my mind. Oh, that's another Tupac. We get another Tupac reference in this film as well. The guy in the booth rapping, not reference, but we actually see Tupac.
Yeah,
and I forget that actor's name, but it's not the same guy from All Eyes on Me.
Okay. But what has he done, Demetrius Shipp?
I don't know. That's one of them star killing movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is, you know, I get, you know, I don't know, you know, Ice Cube's son, that worked for him. Easy's son was upset he couldn't play his father. You can't just, you know, you can't get by, again, Ice Cube's son.
Biggie's son and Notorious.
Yeah, you can't always get by just looking like people.
Right, no.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like Demetrius Shipp and a lot of people, remember they did an open casting call for that All Eyes on Me.
Yeah.
And he looked like Tupac in them pictures. I ain't gonna hold you. Got the same facial structure and everything, but I mean, you look too much like him. Like, now you're gonna look like Tupac in everything you do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's distracting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just... Right. You need more. Look, Denzel didn't look like Malcolm X. Kill that shit. You would think that was Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? So not everybody got to look like somebody. You know, I think in his situation, it definitely hurt his career.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. Yeah, I don't think because you only look like Tupac unless you're making like remakes of Tupac movies.
And
like,
please,
you probably don't want.
Calmatic. I hope you're not listening to this. We don't need any more. You don't need no more remakes.
No, no. Please stay away from Poetic Justice.
Stay away from.
Nah.
I will find you wherever you're at. We don't need Gridlocked remake. We don't need gang related remake. What other movies Tupac was saying? I think that was it. Damn.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
We don't need any more. No remakes. Please, Calmatic.
We're good.
Leave it alone.
Right. But also shout out to Straight Outta Compton too. Back to that real quick. There's also the one brother who lost his life while making the movie. Oh yeah. I forget his name off the top of my head. But Suge Knight.
Is that what put Suge in jail?
That is what put Suge Knight in jail. Right on at Tam's Burgers right here in Compton, California. And
that one that just passed?
Yeah.
Across from Louisiana?
Yep. Yeah. I don't know. It's on Compton Boulevard in Alondra. Yeah. But
yo, I just passed it. I didn't.
Yeah.
LA is fascinating, man. Like
Right.
it's like I didn't know. I don't know how much. I'll be driving past shit all the time, and it's like I go back and I'll read up on it, and things is happening around. Like LA is fascinating. I'm just
right. It's like every corner there's something.
Yeah, man. Oh wow!
Yeah.
I just drove past it. Wow.
Yeah, that mug. Yeah, Suge just got angry, ran homie over in the car. I'm like, dang, bro. But yeah. That's how that goes. Shout out to the soundtrack of that movie too. I very specifically remember watching that movie because that was right before I was going off to college for my first year at CSUN, Cal State Northridge. So it was like leaving Compton for the first time, and this was the last film that I saw in theaters, like with my mom before I left for college. So it was kind of like that nice little send away.
Oh, nice.
Also too, the Dr. Dre album that was attached to this to this film. Just called Compton. Low key, very underrated. Not a lot of people heard it when it came out, and I get it. It's not a lot of Dr. Dre rapping. It's not like a lot of the classic Dr. Dre isms that you want to hear. But there's some hard knocking beats on there. A lot of good Kendrick verses on there. Some good Ice Cube verses on there.
I think Anderson .Paak is on there.
Anderson
That's the
.Paak
first time I heard him.
Yeah, that's a few songs on there. Yeah. So that's a good. If you haven't heard Compton, the album, it's a good album.
There you go, Compton, the album. Yeah, man. Yo, hip hop, man. It's so crazy. As we're talking, I'm just like, there's a lot of hip hop films out there, or hip hop adjacent films. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a shame that today we don't have any of that.
Yeah, I can't even think. Again, it's mostly on TV. Like I could think of the Get Down.
The Get Down.
Which is canceled too soon on Netflix.
Yeah.
Again, I shout out Wu-Tang, 3 seasons on Hulu. Great hip hop show. Empire, which lost its way after the first season. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I tried to tap in, and I realized it wasn't for me, man.
Yeah. It's network TV. It's network TV. The first season is good, but after that, it loses its way. And it has. Shout out Power too. I guess it's technically hip hop adjacent.
Snowfall.
You're right. Snowfall, definitely.
Yeah, I guess it's living on TV, but I would like to see. But the thing is, how can you document hip hop today? Like, what's going on today that it has to be documented? Like you look at the house parties, the juice and stuff like that. That is like a time capsule. You know what I'm saying? You could really and talking to George earlier, like he's describing things. It was authentic to him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are they doing now that you can really document through film?
Right, without basically showing a bunch of guns and
pills.
Right, pills. Right, exactly.
You know,
I know they did one documentary on Hulu. I know people are gonna kill me for saying this. They did a documentary on XXXTentacion.
Okay, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. It's
what's his name? Got a doc too, 6ix9ine, but ain't nobody.
Well, I ain't watching that. Yeah. Watching that. This XXX one was all right. I actually got an early screening for that. I actually did like his music a little bit before he passed. I know he's a piece of work too. You know, he's a piece of shit, but the music was all right. But that was the only recent documentary I could really think of, in terms of a rapper centric doc. Of course, they have the Art of Rap that came out in 2011. Some more docs, but man, we want a movie. I
would like to see something. And what kids, man? If y'all tapped in, what the hell y'all doing today, man? Besides just smoking weed and taking pills, man. What the hell are y'all doing today? Y'all don't be in clubs no more. What is this? What is going on? Is there any young people out there trying to make a film that's very, rooted in hip hop about today's culture? Or is hip hop so pop now that it's just like blasé?
Whatever, yeah.
And then I remember the success of Straight Outta Compton. There was a lot of talks of biopics for this person, that person, these groups. I wonder if we're gonna see more of those.
Yeah. I mean, they were getting kind of crazy at one point. Like I think they were even talking about doing a Faith Evans biopic.
Oh,
at one
no.
point, which is like so funny because
For what?
I'm like, yeah, like she's good. She's a good
Yeah,
singer, but
we
I'm
love
like,
Faith
yo,
Evans,
like,
but why?
Right.
You know?
They're kind of getting ridiculous.
I know
at
Miss
that point.
Chalet, Dr. Dre's former, girlfriend. She had one that was on Lifetime.
Yeah, she did.
Chalet.
She sure did. Yeah. Also, shout out Roxanne. That's on Netflix.
Roxanne Shante.
Yeah.
One of another, the godmother, one of them early ones in hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, man, I would love to see a Lil' Kim movie. I also would actually like to see them. Another rap shit on yeah.
I haven't watched that.
Disarray. That one is good, and it is very rap centric. Like it's about two rappers
in
girls.
Miami, right?
In Miami, yeah. So maybe that's the direction. More female rappers. I'm hoping Kendrick. I know Kendrick was developing something with the South Park guys.
Oh yeah, that sounded trippy.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a comedy. I think it's a comedy. But
that sounded trippy. Do you know what the movie's about?
No, I don't. No.
Hold up.
Nah.
Wait up, y'all. I'm gonna read because it's trippy.
Is that? But is it about rap? I thought it was about rapper or something.
I don't think it's about rap. Let me pull it up because.
Well, if that's the new frontier of hip hop, though, just Kendrick Lamar and the South Park
creators.
Right.
That is freaking crazy. But okay, the film will depict the past and present coming to a head when a young black man who was interning as a slave reenactor at a living history museum discovers that his white girlfriend's ancestors once owned his.
Yo,
that joint.
Oh shoot. Only Kendrick, man.
Seriously, and then with the South Park creators, God knows how that's going to turn out. But you know what? It takes me back to Get Out. The first time I heard the premise for Get Out, and everybody was like a horror about that, and I was like, hey, they might have something here.
They might be cooking.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because if you black, you go into a white space. It is a horror. Lowest key, like you are definitely. Literally. It's a damn sci-fi and a horror being in a homogeneously white space and you being black. So it sounds crazy, but it might have potential.
Right? Nah. I definitely gotta see that one.
Yeah. I would love to see. Speaking of hip hop and film, I would love to see a musical like film with Kendrick's music.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
That would be fire.
Tyler the Creator as well is another one that makes beautiful music.
He's a good lyricist. Now people talk about him as a lyricist, but man, he's a great rapper.
And just his music, he makes great music. Like he's one of the few. Him and Kendrick are a couple of few legit artists. Like
and videos too.
Yes,
his videos. Tyler's videos and Kendrick videos are hyper cinematic.
Yeah,
so
I would love to see that. But do we have it? Is it after Straight Outta Compton? Do we have any more?
I was been racking my brain this whole time.
Yeah,
like, even between Notorious and Straight Outta Compton, I'm still like having a hard time. Like,
Get Rich or Die Trying comes
right. But that was like 05 though, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to my man Bill Duke. He's in that.
Oh yes, yeah. Bill Duke is in that. That one was all right. I remember the hype for that one, and I went to go see it, and it was just kind of like, okay.
They gave 50 a whole video game, like
Blood in the Sand or Bulletproof. I think those two separate games.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I remember.
Bulletproof.
I remember when I was working in the movie theater again. We were showing Get Rich or Die Trying. We got a promo. The manager got a promo with Get Rich or Die Trying stuff and the video game. And my brother was a huge 50 Cent fan, and I gave him the video game. And I'll never forget the day I came home from somewhere, and he was literally using the video game as a coaster. So, that's my very quick 50 Cent Bulletproof review. So yeah, but that was when 50 was starting to dry up. It was like, all right, man, enough white people. He got the white people mouth salivating, talking, oh, she gets shot.
Right.
Ooh, gangster. I want to be like that. He drops the G-Unit tank tops. Ooh, I look like a thug now. You got the G-Unit.
Some white beaters, basically.
Yeah. G-Unit Reebok sneakers. Ooh, I'm dressed like a homeboy.
Reeboks, not the
yes, he did all of that, and then it got dried up. So now he's in Europe doing the Get Rich or Die Trying tour for them white people, because that's the only people that care about him.
He ain't doing no tour in America, not these days.
No, he will. I think eventually he's coming to America, but it's like he ain't doing like He ain't doing the SoFi Stadium.
Right.
He ain't that popping. Maybe in Europe, but not over here.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but-
Yeah, he was looking kind of heavy at that Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I
upside down. I thought
yeah.
he was gonna pass out, man. It's like,
now
yo,
that blood rushing to his
yeah.
head.
You too big to be hung upside down like that, bro. But yeah, that's basically us touching on hip hop and film culture. You know, if you want to tap into the comments, I be reading the comments. The comments is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I be reading the comments sometimes. It's like if you want to tap into the comments, you feel like we missed anything, or you want to sound off about your favorite hip hop film, just hit the comments. You know what I'm saying? But while you hitting the comments, don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple. If you want a chance at this 8 Mile 4K Blu-ray Steelbook 20th anniversary limited
I
edition.
think the last role of Brittany Murphy, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, R.I.P. Brittany Murphy. That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's her last role, but yeah, this is one of those ones for her.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely a bigger. Definitely.
Yeah, you know, you don't got 4K Blu-ray player, that's okay. They got the Blu-ray in there. They got the digital code.
Yeah.
So you can get 4K resolution with the digital code. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you got the PS5, that is a 4K player. You got the Xbox, Xbox One?
Yeah,
Oh, 1, 3. Yeah, it's not 360.
Right.
Oh, it's a Series X, whatever. That shit, they got a 4K player. So remember, follow us, comment, subscribe, give us, if you like the show, 5-star rating, all of that.
Yeah.
If you want a chance at this Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray of 8 Mile. I am Mr. Marin.
I'm Director RB3.
And we will see you when we see you. Make sure you follow us at MrMarinKnows, at MrMarinKnows. Also follow Real Talk Film Society on Instagram. We are also on Twitter. I gotta get back on it. I'm paying. Elon Musk got me paying for that blue check, so I gotta get back on it.
Using it, right?
Yeah, so it's Real Film Talk SOC. Again, I'm Mr. Marin. This is RB3. We are out.
Coming soon to a theater near you.